This is the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz, brought to you by Gate City Bank and Pepsi.
Welcome into the Matt Entz Football Show here from Tucson. Coach, a tough one today versus an FBS opponent, 31-28. Just your overall thoughts on the ball game.
Had our opportunities, and it comes down to some situational football. We weren't very good on either side of the ball, or weren't good enough playing a solid Arizona team on third down, and then having a turnover in the red zone early in the first half was frustrating because we were moving the ball, had it on the 5, and would have loved to come away with points on that trip.
Your team came out a little bit, giving up that one drive, but then responded. Just kind of talk about some of the positive takeaways from the first half, Coach.
Well, I thought our kids played unbelievably hard. I thought we got to stop. Offensively, we moved the football. I mean, we were in the red zone a couple different times, and I thought our kids, we had a great plan on both sides of the football. They had good players too, and it was a great game, great atmosphere.
We saw a lot from Cole Payton, maybe some takeaways from how he performed. It kind of threw them off on some sets.
Well, we used some two quarterback stuff as we move, into the conference season, probably into the next phase of the 2022 season. You'll probably see a little bit more of that. Cole continues to develop. He's a talented young man. He runs hard. He knows our offense, and so we got to take advantage of our playmakers.
Coach, we saw a lot more passing from Cam Miller in this ball game too. Talk a little bit more about his performance and just some more of the aerial attack that we haven't seen in the first two games.
Well, he was 10 for 12. Did a great job. We caught him in a bunch of nakeds. Had some wide open guys, and made some big hits to Noah Gindorf on some big third downs to extend some plays and to pick up some positive yardage. Cam does a great job, very efficient with the football, and those are things that we got to continue to do as we move into the conference.
Coach Green goes in at halftime, no sacks, no tackles for loss. Just what did you tell your defensive unit there at halftime?
Well, we weren't in a bad spot. The last drive of the second quarter was probably a little frustrating. I thought we might have missed a takeaway. That double stick vertical on the sideline over there. We were in cover 2. Couldn't have been in probably a better coverage at that time for our safety to get over the top of it. But we hadn't given up any big plays yet. We were forcing them to have to drive the field.
Let's take a look at first half highlights presented by Gate City Bank.
Empty backfield now here for DeLora in the gun at the 24 up front for the Bison. 2 receivers down to the right, 1 up top to the left. Action moving. The snap gets away from him, rolls back to the 10, and he falls on it. Oh, mama, loss all the way back down to the 9-yard line near that right hash mark. Code Green bringing the pressure early, baby. Running back behind him, all alone, very tight formation with 1 receiver down to the left. As they will do an end-around play over to the right side. It is Braylon Henderson to the right side at the 40, and that is enough for a first down on the right side. It's a Golden Harvest Seeds first down for the green and gold. Bison down to the left, I formation here. Miller under center, 2 backs behind him. He'll fake the handoff, passing over right side, has a man wide open, 10-5, and that is a Bison touchdown, baby, on the right side as it goes right into the hands of Hunter Lipke. Go for it, if you can believe that, on 4th down and 1. Yeah, and it's another guy. It's not the regular quarterback, DeLora. It's a different
He
one.
didn't get it.
And he did not get it. He got slammed. No, he didn't get it.
He has to make it to the line.
He did not. The 2 line judges came up. It was stopped at the 34-yard line. 2 receivers to either side as he has Kobe Johnson, the running back, to his right side. One of those receivers in motion as he'll fake the handoff. Here is Cole Payton lowering his shoulder in between the marks. It is a first down to the 39-yard line. A Golden Harvest Seeds. So here we go. This time it is Miller in the gun. Payton lines up as a back. Miller looking to pass. Throws over. This one left side corner. Is it caught for a touchdown on that left corner? Just out of bounds at the 2-yard line as it went into the hands of the receiver there, Hunter Lipke. The Bison, 6 of 7 in the red zone this season. When they get inside that Case IH red zone, there's a good chance they're going to gut it in. Now Miller in the gun. Nobody back there. 3 receivers. Miller to the left side. Inside. Did he get in? Yes, he did, baby. Touchdown, Cam Miller.
Here's first half stats presented by Nodak Insurance. Coach, first half, 200 yards of total offense. We saw a lot from the passing game, the rush. It was a pretty balanced first half. Just talk about how that performance was on both sides.
Well, I thought offensively we did a good job of forcing them to have to defend some things. Had a reverse in there, had a screen that was hit big for us. A couple different plays, got both quarterbacks involved. I think when you see a balanced attack, that's a positive thing. And we're forcing people to have to defend the field. And, of course, would love to have played a little better on third down in the first half. Defensively, get off the field. Just felt like, man, we were always one series away. We needed to get the ball back to our offense just a little bit quicker today. And that was a good football team with some talented skill kids.
Hunter Lipke, we'll talk a little bit more about him as this game goes on. 9 carries, 46 yards in that first half. He was a force in this ball game, Coach.
He was. In the first half, he also had a couple catches as well that were critical for us, and they lost him in coverage a little bit. I mean, they were overplaying the run game, and that's what a lot of teams do, and all of a sudden we snuck him out the backside and had a big touchdown down here in the north end zone.
Briefly talk a little bit about Cam Miller's performance. He was 6 of 7, 103 yards, had that touchdown.
Yep.
Had to feel pretty confident, I would assume, from where we were seeing up in the booth here in this first half.
Felt really good about where it was. Of course, do we wish we had the playback down in the red zone? We did, but Cam did a great job of orchestrating some series and orchestrating some scoring drives.
We saw from DeLaura, too, in previous tape, the first 2 games, he would scramble a lot, he would throw away. It looked like they kind of clamored down on him, had a talk with him. On the other side of the ball, he played pretty well.
He did. I think we said he was a pretty dynamic player going into it last Monday, talked about his ability to extend plays. I think you saw that today. We got caught in coverage a couple times for a long time, and that's tough to do when you have talented wide receivers, especially with Coig and Singer. But he's a talented guy. They used him in some quarterback run games, some quarterback draw. They forced us to have to defend the entire field as well.
We'll have the second half highlights right after this.
Teamwork, talent, dedication, leadership. These values that win championships on the field also build community, improve lives, and make a difference every single day. For you, for our neighbors, for our community, for a better way of life. Gate City Bank.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
I live for adventure. Whether it's playing professional football or the solitude of being in the great outdoors. Through all my adventures, one thing I do know: life is unpredictable and full of change. Thankfully, some things remain the same. Important things like service, quality, expertise, and trust. From my childhood to today, Shields has my trust because it has been right there with me for all my adventures. Shields, right there with you.
For decades, Nodak Insurance Company has been serving our state's residents in good times and challenging times. We come together for the greater good, from simple acts of kindness to company-wide efforts that make a difference in our community. It's who we are, rooted in North Dakota and ready to serve when it matters most. Nodak Insurance Company, agents with answers.
Another rock and roll weekend. Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to the Matt Entz football show here in Tucson. A tough one tonight, but Coach, the second half came out, both teams punting, but then a little bit of life. Before we really dig into that, what did you tell your team at halftime and then coming out in that second half?
Well, we need to do a better job communicating. I thought we had some things that, just from an operational, procedural standpoint, some penalties that we could have cleaned up. We needed to continue. We talked about third down and talked about, we needed to create a takeaway at some point during the game to kind of rectify the possessions. They were +1. We needed to find a way to even that out.
Arizona goes down at one point in that second half. They have an opportunity to kick a field goal. They missed that.
Yep.
What were your thoughts? How did special teams perform on those plays?
We did a decent job on special teams today. Both kickers were putting the ball through the end zone all night long, so the kick return game was nullified just by the big legs of both teams' kickers. But, I thought field position played a big role. Our defense, we forced them to miss that field goal down here with probably about 7-8 minutes left in the game, and that was a huge play for us.
7th possession of the night for Arizona there in that second half. There was a face mask penalty with the Bison. That ended up ultimately allowing Coleman to run in for a 2-yard touchdown score. Just kind of walk us through that drive.
Wow, when you give a talented offensive group extra possession or, have some penalties on third down, and then there was another 3rd and 16 in that series, that was the name of the game. We couldn't get off the field and felt like if we could have, they were struggling to stop us offensively, and it was just back and forth, and we needed to be better on third down.
What were you hearing? I know you're focused on the game, of course, but maybe what were some things that possibly you were hearing from your other coaches in that second half that were trying to get these guys sparked to come out victorious?
Well, I think we just had a good plan. Coach Roll, we were running some of our no-pull power inside. Some of our gap scheme was really good for us. And, defensively, we did a nice job getting them into some second and third downs. We just needed to get off the field.
Let's take a look at second half highlights presented by Gate City Bank.
115 rushing yards for North Dakota State. 74% of their plays have been run plays. Another one. And a carry for Tamarick Williams, the SMU transfer, gashing Arizona with a big run into Wildcat territory. 4th play of 25-plus yards tonight for North Dakota State. Again on the ground. This time it's Ganella. Helmet comes off. We'll give it to Lipke again. Lipke into the end zone. North Dakota State has the lead. Eight different players have carried the ball for the Bison. First down. And this will be Henderson. Another end around. Another first down. For North Dakota State. Driving into Arizona territory. Second effort for Lipke, and he breaks through. What a night for Hunter Lipke. And the Bison have retaken the lead.
He even took out Jake Lippy in the celebration.
Williams this time finds the edge.
Let's take a look at final stats presented by Nodak Insurance. Of course, the final 31-28, Arizona victorious tonight. As far as the offensive yards go, pretty even across the board. 407 yards for North Dakota State, 394 for Arizona. But there was a little bit of a difference between passing and rushing on both sides. Tell us a little bit more about that, Coach.
Well, we took advantage of what was working for us offensively. And, they were down most of the second half for parts of the second half. So I felt that was probably their best way to get back into it is put the ball into their quarterback's hands and let them make some plays or get it on the perimeter to some of their playmakers.
Trying to move the ball on third down, went 3 for 7 tonight. What were some of the difficulties there on third down?
Well, just good defense. They did a nice job, but we can't be in a bunch of third and longs and third and 4s, third and 5s, third and 9s. That's tough for us. We got to play better on early downs, and that tends to elevate our percentages of being successful on third down.
Time of possession has not been a factor in the first 2 games of the season. In fact, NDSU was behind time of possession in the first 2, but going to this ball game, 31 minutes compared to 28. So ahead in this, was time of possession something that you were heavily focused on, or just saying we got to get out and play?
No, it was definitely. I mean, we convert a couple of those third downs, what you just talked about, then all of a sudden our time of possession goes up. Or we hang on to the football in the red zone, time of possession goes up. We get a couple stops on third down, time of possession goes up.
Coach, just overall thoughts and some positive takeaways, even in a loss. You know, sometimes this is an opportunity to kind of recharge and get set for next week. Some positive takeaways from
well,
this.
I thought we played really hard. I thought there was a decent amount of execution throughout the game. There's always opportunities to learn in every game, and our kids are frustrated. They felt like this was a winnable game, and unfortunately, some situations presented themselves. We didn't play as well as we could have, and we got to get back to the drawing board. We got Missouri Valley right around the corner, and it's going to be an exciting year for us.
Well, Hunter Lipke was named the Nodak Insurance Player of the Game. We've mentioned his performance, 3 touchdowns in this ball game. Again, just your final thoughts on him and the success he had tonight, Coach.
Well, Hunter's an unbelievable athlete. You know, he can carry the football. He plays tight end. He plays fullback. He can play tailback. He's just as talented in the pass game as well, and he's a big part of our offense. Carried the ball 18 times tonight for some physical yards. He's been a critical piece to our offense, and they're excited to have him, and he's a great leader as well.
Can you talk, and we've mentioned the leadership throughout the first couple of weeks, and as I've gotten to know you as well, but just how do the other guys look up to him on the field and through that leadership, Coach?
Well, he's played a lot of football, and so he has a lot of experience in between the lines, and he goes about his work every day at practice, very workman-like, very, Bison-like, and I think the young guys really respond to it. He doesn't say a lot, but when he does, it's impactful.
Before heading into this game, what were some things that were told to him? I know that you were depending on him, and he showed up, as we mentioned.
Right. Well, we knew we were going to try to utilize him a little bit, and he does provide a spark in the backfield. He's a big body. I saw Tamarick Williams run well today, so we are able to get some big backs out there, along with Cole Payton.
When we come back, Logan Campbell has a look at Jaxon Duttenhefer.
Better starts with convenience. Better starts with trust. You can trust that your pre-approval is guaranteed on closing day, which is one less thing to worry about. Better starts with saving you money. No ATM fees and no minimum balances mean how you spend your money is up to you. Because at Gate City Bank, better starts with you. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
You're all set. Did we get it?
Got it.
Will you be using your Shields Visa today?
Yep, we just got it.
Thank you. Enjoy your ride.
Thank you. Hi.
I'd like to pay for the car behind me, too.
Yeah, you got it.
May I have the check, please?
We got it.
Shields Visa. Do good. Feel good.
Bison Nation, this is head football coach Matt Entz. With all that goes into leading the Bison to victory, the last thing I want to worry about is the clothing I need to look and feel my best. I shop at Halberstadt's West Acres because I trust that they provide me with everything I need for meetings at the office, press conferences, and casual Bison attire. With plenty of options for sport coats, shirts, denim, suits, shoes, and accessories, I'm confident that when I need anything and everything menswear, Halberstadt's West Acres has me covered.
Welcome back to the Matt Entz Football Show. In this week's Olaf Anderson feature, WDAY's Logan Campbell takes a closer look at Jaxon Duttenhefer.
Junior defensive tackle Eli Mostart is a cornerstone for NDSU's defensive line. His season potentially coming to an end 2 games into the season, breaking his lower fibula.
Injuries are the part of the game that you hate. They make you sick. We've been in these situations before, and you guys have heard us say it before. Next man up.
NDSU's coaching staff is now turning to an in-state guy to fill some big shoes.
Jaxon Duttenhefer was probably a little bit ahead of the curve coming out of Mandan High School. Big physical kid, very strong already. And this last year and a half have been really good for him.
My head's not as far in the pool as it was last year. I feel like I'm actually above water and can breathe. It's been really good. I think spring ball really helped, solidifying the playbook and knowing what I'm doing.
The redshirt freshman is no stranger to the game day atmosphere, seeing action in 2 games last season.
But I think just knowing the pregame routine, Friday night film and stuff that we got, it's just knowing all that, it really just makes you really comfortable on those game days.
But with all that preparation behind him and a few games into this season, Duttenhefer is confident.
I would probably say run stopping. I think that's just kind of my bread and butter is I'm going to be in there, I'm going to take up a gap, and I'm just going to push someone about 3 yards off the line.
And the defensive tackle is ready to suit up, represent his state, and be the next man up.
North Dakota kid's dream, to come here and represent your state and your home, and it is a dream come true, absolutely.
For WDAY Sports, I'm Logan Campbell.
Coach, Jaxon Duttenhefer remains one of those players that continues to get more exposure. Just talk a little bit of his performance in this ball game and throughout the season.
Well, it's early to talk about this performance in the game, but I know that he continues to elevate his play, his level of execution. Don't know where the ceiling is for that young man, but we knew out of high school he was going to be a type of player that could help us. We like to play a lot of young men up front on the defensive line, and to see him give us the valuable and quality snaps that he is really pretty special for a young guy like him.
Love talking about the young guys and just seeing how they grow and their exposure and who they're learning from. Who has he really started to latch on to as the season goes on?
Well, Coach Gazer, of course, is going to be number one because Coach Gazer's been here for years. He understands our defense inside and out. But, I think there's guys last year, we had a number of veterans inside. Costner Chang, Lane Tucker were probably 2 guys that he really responded to as a true freshman, kind of seeing how the seniors operated. But now Javier Darrett, Eli Mostart, Will Mostart, we're relatively young at that position, and that's exciting.
As these guys continue to mold and develop, what are some of the expectations from him going forward?
Continue to improve. Find little ways, incremental gains. That's what we talk about every week. There is no plateauing in this program. We try to get better from week to week. Just off the cuff, we probably got a little bit better in some things. There's some areas we need to continue to improve.
Even in this loss, I saw the guys, everybody, including Duttenhefer, all walking around. Heads were high. Yeah. That's important. How do you get them to buy into that culture? They know the expectations.
Well, because they also know the standard. And the standard here at NDSU is to continue to compete. We're not going to fracture the standard. We're not going to bend it. We're not going to break it. It is what it is. We go into every game knowing that we're going to compete as hard as we can.
Well, this week's great clip, great question of the game, brought to you by Great Clips, is from Trent from Bismarck. And he wants to know, how hard is it to manage the spotlight of an FBS game, Coach?
Well, you try to just take it for what it is. We didn't treat it like any other. We treated it like every other game. Didn't make it unique. Didn't try to hype it up any more than it needed to. It had enough buzz around it. I was answering questions for 3 weeks now. Just looking ahead, we needed to make sure that we focused on weeks 1, week 2, week 3. We're going to put the bow on this one here tomorrow, and then we're going to move right into the next week.
Speaking of next week, that's coming up, heading down to Vermillion to face USD. We'll talk about that at conference play when we come back.
This is Jack. Jack loves sports, and since he banks at Gate City Bank, he can show his spirit right on his debit card. Even better, Gate City Bank will donate $10 to his favorite local school. And when Jack's friends cheer on their favorite teams, those schools receive $10 too. Plus, Jack and his friends score every day with free ATMs worldwide. Now that's always a win. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
As archers, we know our best shot starts in the mind. We need to shoot with complete control and confidence, or don't shoot at all. It's about determination and practice to get the process right. Find your grip, draw to anchor. Let your pin float over the target and then keep pulling straight back, continuing through to the release. From grip to release, let's get you dialed. Shields.
Powerful and playful. Delicate and precise. bold and carefree. It's the way you move, and it moves us. To deliver care for your whole family, to provide options beyond the expected, to help you leave pain in the past and find your way forward. Orthopedics and sports medicine at Sanford Health.
Welcome back to the Matt Entz Football Show. Rob Hipp here with head coach Matt Entz. Coach, conference play, we can talk about that now. Heading in, going to head down to Vermilion, taking on South Dakota. This is a team that has had some struggles early, but they found a way to be victorious tonight. Just your thoughts heading into Vermilion.
Yeah, I saw a score quickly. It looked like they put some points up. I know they have been struggling on the offensive side a little bit, but I know enough guys on that staff that they're going to have them prepared, ready to play. It's another opportunity to play in the Dakota Dome down there. So we're going to have a great week. Coach Nielsen does a tremendous job preparing his team. They seldom beat themselves, and so it'll be a great contest against two well-coached teams.
Coach, of course, the late one here tonight and getting on the plane, getting back at 6:30 in the morning. Does that alter any kind of schedule early next week, or is it just business as usual?
It'll alter a little bit some of the scheduling for tomorrow. We'll push some of the training room hours back just because I don't think our arrival into Fargo is till 5:30, 6 o'clock. It'll shorten maybe the workday slightly for the coaches, but once we get back Monday, we're going to roll.
You know, with of course conference play coming up, it always gets very excited. We always get excited on the first game of the season, but now conference play. Just what are your thoughts heading into that every year? I know that's your first goal is always to win the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
It is, and it's a tremendous task, and our kids are excited about it. We're going to bounce back. We can never let one loss lend itself to two, and so we're going to have to learn from this one and move on and get excited for conference play.
What are some things this year? I know it's still very early, but maybe some things that you're starting to notice this year that may be a little bit different from last year facing them?
Facing USD,
yes,
I haven't looked enough at them yet. You know, my focus was on Arizona, and I have not looked at USD yet.
Well, the final tonight, 31-28. Coach, as always, thanks for your time. Appreciate you. We're looking forward to next week. It is USD down in Vermilion. We'll be there. And remember, Bison fans, horns up and go Bison.
Today's Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz has been presented by Gate City Bank and Pepsi.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Lear.